Hola, hola a todos, muy buenas tardes. Estamos en un nuevo capítulo de Azure en el bar con nuestros amigos. Y bueno, hoy otro capítulo, un capítulo especial también porque es un Gold Edition y tenemos de invitada especial a Dona Sarkar. Le agradecemos por su tiempo y estar y participar con nosotros. También agradecerle a ustedes por acompañarnos una vez más en esta nueva edición, juntar a las comunidades de Latinoamérica y acercarlas hacia Microsoft Corp. Y en eso hemos estado trabajando durante todo este año junto con Javier Villegas, Alex Rostán, Gastón Cruz y quien le habla, Cristóbal Ibarra, más todo el apoyo, por supuesto, de profesionales, colegas, MVP de Microsoft. Estamos haciendo esto realidad. Así que más que todo, a todas las personas que han estado participando durante todo este año, donde ya hemos realizado varios capítulos, agradecerle de todo corazón porque al fin y al cabo esto lo hacemos todos, a la gente que ha participado durante todo el año también. Nada más que agradecerle y bueno, eso y además, por otro lado, darle el paso a mi amigo personal Gastón, ¿sí? Para que pueda introducir ahí un poco en inglés sobre este tema. Gracias.
Okay, great presentation, Cristóbal. Thanks very much for the audience, for all the LATAM leaderships, communities, everyone that joined today this Gold Edition of Azure Bar. I am really excited to have Dona here. Good evening, good night for some folks from South America. It's this initiative is mainly kind of a hobby for all of us, for Javier, for Alex, for Cristobal, joining different countries together, Argentina, Paraguay, Uruguay, Chile, everyone that every 15 days join us in this Azure War. We've been with more like 50, 60 different folks from South America right now in the whole year. This crazy year, we just miss so much the personal events. And I am gonna just briefly introduce myself and going around to let everybody to know more about us, a little bit about us, and then, of course, Dona is gonna rocking out this stage. So briefly, my name is Gaston Cruz. I'm usually from native from Uruguay, South America. I still have my heart there. I moved to Seattle, living in Bellevue right now, kind of 2 years right now. Yeah, working as a solution principal within Slalom, joined the Microsoft Center of Excellence right now, architecting data platform solutions for kind of the last 20 years for me. I really enjoyed Seattle, Washington when I can hike a little bit and go out there. Let's go around and give a shot and let Cristobal going back there and introduce himself.
Thank you, Gaston. Hello, everybody. I'm very happy and grateful to be with you again in this version of a new chapter of Azure in the Bar. Well, I live in Chile. I work as a digital data and analytics for EY. I'm here because before I worked at MetroCards and we went acquired by EY. So in addition to that, I actively participate in the past Chile community. I also collaborate for the Power BI user groups where we are already more than 3,000 users. Very grateful for being able to collaborate with the LATAM community. From now on, I hope you have fun today. So Alex, please could you introduce yourself?
Okay. Hello, everybody. Good afternoon, good evening, good night, wherever you are. I'm glad to have Dona here, and I have he again in the Latin community. And my name is Alex Rustan. I am an Uruguayan now living in Paraguay. And I work as a country manager and AI and community apps leader from a Microsoft partner company here. So that's my story, my short story. So please, Javier, let's continue.
Thank you, Alex. First of all, so excited to have Dona here with us in our show. We've been chasing her for many long weeks. So finally, the dreams come true. So thank you for being with us. My name is Javier Villegas. I am from Buenos Aires, Argentina. I work as IT director in Mediterranean Shipping Company since 15 years ago. I am Microsoft MVP in the data platform category and member of the PAS community and one of the organizers of our community here in Argentina, Circular Argentina. I really hope everybody to enjoy and have fun today in our new episode with Dona. Gaston?
Okay, just introduce here. Dona again, thank you really much about accepting the invitation for our show. Our LATAM community has a unique opportunity to have you with us today and do some homeworks. Go, Cristobal, with the first question for Dona.
Okay, thank you, Dona. I have the honor to ask the first question. Dona, please, can you tell us a little bit about yourself, please?
Yeah. Hola amigos. Buenas tardes. Mi español es mal. Okay, that's all I got.
Pretty good.
I'm Dona Sarkar. I live in the US usually. I work at Microsoft. I have worked there for 15 years, so I am old. I worked in the Windows team for 14 of those years, and over the last year and a bit, I've been focusing on the Power Platform. And the reason I've been focusing on the Power Platform is because it is the biggest opportunity to reach people all over the world, whether they're technical or not technical background. So I feel that it's a great honor to be working on something that normal people can use to solve their business problems. So usually I am in Seattle, Washington, where Microsoft is based. Before the pandemic, I traveled all over the world. So on my list for 2020 was Paraguay, Uruguay, Chile, Argentina, Colombia. And because of the pandemic, just Seattle on my list and a lot of people. So I have my fingers crossed for the vaccine to show up at one of these days. And that way I can come see you all in person. Right now, I am actually in Barbados, in the Caribbean. I'm going to be spending 2 months here. This is month 1. So I'm doing some work here remotely as well as taking a vacation. So this is my last meetup before vacation, but I wanted to come talk to you and give you some homework. So before we joined the call, I showed the guys something funny, and I want to show this to you. A lot of you are like, oh, my home setup to do tech is like so not professional. It's like janky. It's like not that nice. Let me show you my setup. Are you ready? So my laptop is balanced on this basket.
High tech, right?
And on top of the basket is this pillow. So once I put those two down, then my laptop is stable. So if it falls, it's because the basket fell down. So things are weird. We don't have all the nice stuff we have in the office. You know, every time I see a presenter and they have like a bookshelf, basket, and a cushion. Okay, and I'm pretty sure this basket used to hold mail. So I'm just telling you, we're all doing the best we can with what we have. So don't ever feel bad that, oh, you haven't done enough this year, or you should be doing more, or comparing with others, because honestly, we have no idea what's going on in people's lives. You wouldn't think that a Microsoft employee has no desk, but instead works on top of this basket all day long for the last month and a half. This is how I've been working. Okay, so that's the first question. Do we have another? Because I also have slides to show you.
Yep. Go ahead, Alex, if you want to go ahead with the second one.
Yeah. Okay. Dona, please tell us a little bit about your history at Microsoft. I hear some of your stories, but I think they're very good ones. And how was your role and your path in the company?
So I joined Microsoft in 2005 as a software engineer on the Windows team. So I worked on Windows Vista. Okay, so just putting it out there. Let that be a lesson. Where you start your career does not dictate where you end your career, right? Everyone starts somewhere. I worked on Windows Vista, and I mostly owned features that you click on or tap on. So think about like autoplay. If you know what common file dialog is, it's the save and open button. So if you've ever opened or saved a file on Windows, you're welcome. It didn't work, not my fault. So I worked on Vista, I worked on Windows 7, I worked on Windows 8, I worked on Windows 8.1. Then I moved over to work on Microsoft HoloLens. So augmented reality device on your head, super cool, one of the best experiences of my life because I got to build out the dev platform. I got to identify what are the core APIs that devs will need. What do the code samples look like? What do the training videos look like? What do all the sample apps that we should ship in the box? And what are all the sample apps that should be available? So I got to work on the developer platform. And while working there, I really fell in love with advocacy. I fell in love with writing code and having it be used by people, getting the feedback, and then making it better. So this advocate-like role became something that I really wanted to do more of. So I was tapped to run this thing called the Windows Insider Program for Windows 10. That was this new way of shipping Windows where instead of going off in Redmond, writing code and shipping it every 3 years, we said, let's develop in the public. Let's write code, ship it 2 days later to whoever wants to install it, and send us feedback. And we're going to be in beta mode. We got some insiders. We're going to be in beta mode for 6 months at a time. So we're going to ship every 6 months and not every 3 years. Now, everyone wound up really liking this because companies said, oh, this is great because we don't take a huge update every 3 years that breaks everything and we had no chance to test our apps. So they liked this. People liked it because they got to have a chance to weigh in with bugs and feedback. So it was never too late to fix a bug because you're getting it from day one. So if you want to fix a bug, fix it now in day 2 of the product cycle and not like 3 years. So I ran the Insider Program for 3 years. Yeah, a little more than 3 years. It grew. When I joined, it was 7 million people. Now it's 18 million people all over the world. A lot in Latin America. A lot. So I had the privilege of meeting so many of you when I was working on the Insider Program. And it was really one of the coolest experiences I've ever had. So I was tapped to run a brand new team in Power Platform called Advocacy. And that job was very similar to my HoloLens job, where it's identifying what people there. I have a mosquito, sorry. So, so this job is very much like my Holo job, where it's identifying people in the world who will benefit from Power Platform, making sure they have the right content to use it, and then bringing feedback back to the product team. So it's a cool freaking job. And I really, really want to grow more Power Platform developers, users, and people who really benefit and change their lives with Power Platform in Latin America. And the reason for that is I see a huge opportunity in Latin America. There are 652 million people there. That is not a small number. And the average age of Latin American people is like 25. It's a very, very young place. That means you've got first of all, you're tech first. You've had tech pretty much your whole life. And you're going to be around for a long time. So it's time to invest, and it's time to invest heavily. And that's why I'm here with you today.
Very good. Very good. Well, based on what you just said about the Windows Insider, I was there since day one, actually, with Gabe All, and then following you, and well, all the great innovation that was done back then, and still today. Having some small problems, but ideally, as you said, something to be prepared for the next today. So that is a wonderful experience. So I also saw that in the meantime, while you were running the Windows Insider program, you were also merging with your personal business, with the fashion. And this is something that a lot of people, including myself, felt that very attractive and a good thing, this combination of tech, fashion, personal business. What can you tell us about that topic?
Of course. I think it's really important that people who work in tech use tech like a normal person. Because when you work for a software company, you assume everybody in the world uses things the way you do. And as a user of Windows, if I run into an issue, I can just fix it because I am a dev on Windows. But most normal people in the world don't work like that. They run a business, or they are a student, or they work in a company. And I really wanted to understand what it was like to be a person using technology in the world, not just being a person who develops technology. So I've always had a passion for the fashion industry. I've always found it to be a little bit unethical the way they work here in the US. Things are made to, they call it fast fashion, where things are made quickly, they're worn quickly, and they're thrown away. I think 90% of fast fashion shows up in landfills in the world. So it's the second largest cause of pollution in the world behind oil. So the fashion industry is pretty terrible. It's not a good industry. So I decided, let me build the fashion company that I wish existed. So I created a company called Prima Dona, because I'm Dona. And this is ethical luxury for people in the world who want to do good while buying things, while actually loving fashion. My company helps women get paid more. So a lot of my tailoring is done by women all over the world. So I have tailors in Nigeria, Kenya, South Africa, Indonesia, and now Barbados who do tailoring work for me. And they all get paid Seattle salary because I believe that I'm doing remote work and getting paid Seattle salary. Why should my tailors not, wherever they might live? So I focus very heavily on making sure that women get paid fairly to do this work. And the point of my fashion is that when you put it on, you feel like a badass. And you go after that raise, that promotion, that opportunity. You go tell your boss, I want your job. Like, you go do all these things that make you feel confident. So that's my fashion line. I actually use quite a bit of Power Platform in my fashion line. And I'd be happy to share those stories with you. But Power Plat, it's really good for people who run businesses because it can be your CTO if you don't have time to be.
Very good. Very good.
Great. We've been talking about this topic, but I would love your mentioning this. This is a big topic for our Latin community and worldwide communities. What you feel right now in terms of women in tech, saying just not the topic itself, is how we can engage more and more diversity, not just women, just how we can provide that environment. The other day I was taking some Twitter surveys from one MVP from, I think it was Netherlands, something like that, checking the percentage of how much women they are involved in communities. What do you feel about that?
I think that the more diversity we have in tech, the better products we're going to make, and the more people we're going to be able to serve. And I am very passionate about growing a more diverse tech industry in general, whether it's women or men or where in the world you're from. I find that to be a big problem, and I'm actively trying to work to fix it. So, for example, some of the best jobs in the world are tech jobs, where you either build tech or use tech to solve business problems. And I believe that the more people get into tech, the more of these jobs there will be. It's not a zero-sum game where there's X number of jobs and Y number of people, and once Y number of people take X number of jobs, there's no more jobs. The more tech jobs we take, the more tech jobs get created. Right now, I'll share a stat with you later. We're projected that by the year 2025, which is not far, because we're already at 2021 in like a month, there's going to be 149 million people vacancy of tech jobs. So think about that. 149 million vacant tech jobs in the world. because we're not growing enough people to take those jobs. Like, we're just not. Like, and the only way we're going to be able to fill those is by encouraging more women to be in them, to encourage more underrepresented communities, more people from LATAM, more people from Africa, more people from Southeast Asia, more people from Caribbean. It's the only way, because, like, honestly, we're not going to get that many people in the US, Western Europe, Australia. They're just, the population is not there. Like, the working population, people available to take jobs, that does not exist. So unless we get incredibly smart about how we train people and get them ready to take these jobs, we're in big trouble. We are super screwed. So I foresee this as very much my problem. And I foresee this as something that we have to start working on now in 2020 so that we don't have this problem in 2025. Otherwise, we're going to be sitting around. Like, you saw what the pandemic did this year. Suddenly, everyone had to become an engineer, right? People were like, oh, I work in HR. My job is to take these timesheets on my desk, a sheet of paper, and, you know, like, write paychecks and give them. I'm like, oh, yeah, you can do that in a pandemic? In what office? They're like, oh, no. What are we going to do? Chaos, right? What do you do when that used to be your job? Suddenly they were like, how do you do this? What do you do? What do you do? I'm like, okay, so you have to build a Power App. They're like, what's a Power App? For your company that everyone gets deployed to their phones, which they all have. Power App, fill out your hours. Like, I work 12 hours this week or 20 hours, submit, goes to your manager, they approve, goes to HR, they approve, and you have to mail a check to their house, direct deposit. And everyone's freaking out, like, I'm not a dev, what am I going to do? I'm like, should have thought about this, right? Mm-hmm. So this pandemic has made it so obvious that you need all kinds of people to be involved in tech. And guess what? Just because people are taking tech jobs, are you seeing a bunch of people unemployed from tech jobs? No. The only people who've been affected by the pandemic are ones without tech jobs. Have we seen that, right? Yeah. It's all the people who don't have any tech skills. And by the way, everyone is looking for companies with tech skills, like every freaky company on it. So I believe it's just an industry that is ripe for more people to join. And yes, that means women. Yes, that means more men. That means people in LATAM, people in Africa, people in Southeast Asia, because this is where the population is.
Thank you, Dona. Please, Dona, could you advise to LATAM communities in terms of training, learning, and certification, please?
Yes. I'm going to share with you these slides I've made, and it's like a little obvious, but I just want to make sure that, you know, I mention it 100 times, because one thing I've learned is you do have to say something like 8 times before people believe you. And you know I'm right. So,
yeah, I do.
Okay. Can you see this?
Coming.
It's loading. It's loading. In the meanwhile, I can say, Dona, that everybody is saying hello from Brazil, from Colombia, from Seattle, from Peru, from Mexico. Everybody is really happy with us.
Okay. So, can you see this?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Perfect. Okay. Here's what I'd like us to do here today. I would like us to start a global movement for Power LATAM. Okay. Just yesterday, we announced that we're opening a data center in Chile, right? And there's going to be a data center region. We're going to scale up to 180,000 people and then have an advisory board. And I've already kind of tapped Gaston and Ana Inés Urrutia to help with this, but I actually would like to tap a lot more of you. So I used to be one of those people who believed that everyone in the world should learn coding. This is very special for me because it's Computer Science Education Week. This is where we celebrate the hour of code, where we teach kids in classrooms to code, we teach teachers to code. And I believed everyone in the world should learn coding. 7.6 billion people should learn coding. But then it's very obvious that that's not going to happen. People do not have the time to go and invest in computer science degrees or coding boot camps. They don't have 6 months, 2 years, 4 years. They just don't have the time. But instead, Microsoft has created this concept called Power Platform, which is all about empowering citizen developers to build and make. I do believe almost anyone in the world, if given the right opportunity, can build and make solutions to solve their own problems. So we call this global movement Less Code, More Power. And I'm sure some of you have heard about this. But so far, we've been very much about the products. And we're like, okay, cool. There's all these products. Power BI, which is good for data analysis. Power Apps, which is good for writing low-code apps. Power Automate, which does automation, workflows, etc. Power Virtual Agents, which are chatbots. All of this runs on top of Microsoft Dataverse and uses AI Builder. You know most of this. It crosses Office M365, Azure Dynamics, etc. But here's a slide we put up a lot. Who are building solutions with Power Apps? Citizen devs, pro devs, IT people. So just look at the cards. These are Power Platform champions, people we call on in the world to go champion Power Platform in their communities. How many Latinos, Latinx people do you see?
No one.
0. That's a problem. So another problem. We're in this lockdown. Right now, that number I showed you before, 149 million new tech jobs by 2025. 1 million of them will be in privacy and trust, 6 million in cybersecurity, 20 freaking million in data analysis, machine learning, and AI. So if you're a data person, you're in business for a long time. Cloud and data roles, 23 million. Software development, that's what I do, 98 million. These are going to be vacant, meaning they are ready to be filled. And it's already starting. I have companies reaching out to me daily, and I mean daily, saying, can you find us some Power Platform devs? Can you find us people who can build mobile apps, analyze data, build chatbots, etc.? And I say, I don't know 149 million people. And companies are like, why don't you know? What are we going to do? Okay. 500 million new apps will need to be built in the next 5 years. That's more than all the apps that we've ever built in our lives. I'm 40. That's more than all the apps that are built in my entire lifetime. The demand for mobile apps is growing 5 times faster than IT departments can deliver. That's true because IT departments keep calling us, telling us, hello, we need to build 10 million more mobile apps, help us. This is exactly what happened in the pandemic. All of the HR departments who were doing timesheets by paper are like, we need mobile apps for this, who's going to build them? We're like, you. They're like, what? So issue, right? It happened so much this year. Half of this happened this year. 85% of organizations don't know what to do with their data. They were like, oh, we got a bunch of data. Now what? Like, you need to get a data analysis person. They're like, what is that? Where do you get one? Okay. And then 65% of enterprise app dev will be in the low code category. So 65%, that's more than half. That's a lot. Power Platform is growing. Like, a lot of this growth is happening this year. You can see that steep incline, 2.7x growth. This is probably more now. It's probably 5x because of all of the stuff that's happened this year. We're at 86% of the Fortune 500 using Power Apps. And you can see how many of these companies are in the US? A lot. How many of these companies are in Latin America? Not a lot. So we have to change. The problem right now is that these jobs and these companies are all like primarily US and Western Europe. And part of the issue we have is companies in Latin America and all over the world don't know that these are possibilities for them. And look at the profession, look at the titles of these jobs. Business analyst. These are people who are doing the job right now. Business analyst, human resources, office assistant, technical writer, customer service rep. These are the job titles. They're not software engineer. They're not dev manager. They're these titles that you would never expect to be doing app development, but they are.
Yeah.
There's 200 people without software engineering titles who are doing these kinds of jobs that we just checked. Like, this was a quick 1 minute job. We want to empower every developer to do more. Whether you're a professional code-first developer like me and many of you, or you're an IT developer, you work in the IT department, or you're a citizen developer, meaning you have nothing to do with tech whatsoever. You might work in HR, you might work in legal, finance, operations, all of these other groups. And we call that group of people citizen devs. So currently, the superpower of Power Platform is the community. But again, look at those faces. where are all the Latin Americans, Latinx people? Where is everyone? Like,
we have Alex here.
Right? We need to build more. So first, let's just break it into two categories. There's students and not students. Students. I just want to tell you the story of Hemantika. Hemantika is a student in Siliguri Tech in India. She learned about Power Apps in April of this year. Okay. So you can see, you don't see the date here. Yeah, it was like April mid, right in the middle of pandemic. She went to a virtual talk by some student ambassador at her school, learned about Power Apps. She's like, this is so cool. So she just grabbed the database from her country and built a Power App overnight to track COVID cases. And it was such a cool demo that I asked her if she would demo it to a whole group of people. She was like, sure. She demoed it. It was such a good demo. We asked her to demo it at Build. She demoed it there. She did a great job. Then she learned about Power Apps custom connectors, demoed that at Ignite. Then she came on a Start Dev Change conference, which is a conference for beginners in tech. And she gave a great presentation on mixed reality. And then she reached out to an American company and asked if she can be an intern for them remotely doing Power Platform Dev. And they hired her. So she's working for this company in Austin called Cyclotron. And they've hired her to be a Power Platform Dev remotely from India, because that's the world we live in. They need the help. Here's someone most of you should know, Anthony Diaz. He is from Venezuela, and he is a student ambassador. He spends a lot of time helping other students learn. He's a fantastic presenter, one of the best I've seen for students. He gave a great presentation on virtual agents, intelligent chatbots, talking about how he used this to build something to help his neighborhood. So elderly people didn't need to go to the grocery store. Really cool demo, awesome kid. I want to grow more student learn ambassadors in Latin America. The fact that it's really hard to find student ambassadors from LATAM is a problem. I always look and I find like Anthony and like maybe one other person. In a place with 652 million people, this shouldn't be so hard. So I want more students to get involved. I want them to kickstart their career. I want them to connect with other students. I want them to host digital events. These are digital, right? You don't even need to go get a room, figure out catering. You don't have to do this. You host events where you learn tech and teach tech. And if you look at the global community, there's 3,200 students. What is going on with Latin America, and why are these countries single digit? Like Brazil, they're doing a good job. Why? Is there really only one in Chile? Like, is this normal? This is not okay, right?
Yep.
So this is not good. Just look at the population of some of these countries. And this is not just, you have to be a computer scientist. You just have to be in university or college in some way. So there's an opportunity and a ton of program benefits. As a Learn ambassador, you get Azure credit, you get Visual Studio, you get LinkedIn Learning free, which is great for learning interview, public speaking, etc., etc. You get MTC, a trainer certification voucher, and you get your domain name. And of course, you get M365 with Home and Teams and Camtasia and all that stuff. As you grow through the program, you get more and more benefits, but mainly, once we can travel again, you get to come on campus, meet people, get mentorship, etc., etc. You get invited to Build, you sit in the front row, you meet Satya. Like, these are what student ambassadors get to do. And the fact that people from LATAM don't A, know about it, and B, aren't doing it is a problem. So I want to fix this. So ambassadors can fall into a number of be, in Power or Azure. There's so many different kinds of leagues. Leagues are sometimes technical, sometimes non-technical. So you can see there's AI, machine learning, emerging tech, like mixed reality, Internet of Things, low-code dev, that's where Power falls in, mobile and web dev. But there's also social impact leads like accessibility, education, green, technology, healthcare. So the league experience, you pursue learning paths and learn things. You use this workshop content. It's already created for you to go deliver digital skills workshops for people at your school. And then you collaborate on projects with other people. It's like not that much work, not that hard, but the benefits are tremendous. So if any of your students or any of you know students or any of you have kids who are in the college age, or nieces and nephews, point them to studentambassadors.microsoft.com, because I really, really wish we had more from Latin. I would love for people to apply today. Just go to the site, apply. It approvals every once in a while. I have a goal of my own, which is to upskill 100,000 students in Power Platform all over the world. And I've hired Homalama Mohapi. He's from South Africa. He used to be a student learn ambassador. He was already teaching people in his university how to use Azure and Power Platform. So I hired him onto my team to do this. He's standing by, waiting for people in LATAM to join this program. So get in touch and connect with Homalama and join the Student Learn Ambassador program if you're a student. All right, for all y'all not students, also homework. User groups are important. You know this because you've got Paraguay Power Platform user group. But let me tell you the story of Foyen's user group. She started one in Lagos, Nigeria, with her and some friend of hers, 2 people. And within a month, they had their first meeting, and it was just 2 people who came, just 2 of them. Then they spread the word to everyone they knew, and next month, 50 people came. And the next month, 150 people came. By the time I showed up, they had 200 people. And right now, they're at 1,200 people in their Power Platform Nigeria user group across 6 cities. So because Foyen skilled herself first, her company second, and her country is our latest MVP from Nigeria. So what I want to do is do this all over Latin America. And I think we can do it, given that we have amazing people like our latest LATAM MVP, Ana Inés Urrutia. And she just became MVP a few weeks ago. And she is the kind of spirit and soul that we need more of. We need more on us. We need more people to say, I want to help. Whoever wants to get involved with Dynamics and Power Platform, I want to help you. Whoever wants to upskill themselves in their communities and their companies, I want to help you. She is the soul of what we want MVPs to be. And I've already identified my first target, Kathy Ferrer. Kathy presented at Start Dev Change. She's from Venezuela, and now she's in Chile. She's a self-taught software dev. She worked as a dev for 2 years, realized like, wow, Power Platform is amazing. What opportunity. And she's now working as a Power Platform consultant for almost 2 years. She is an amazing speaker, very powerful leader. And it's my goal that she gets MVP'd in the next year because she is helping so many people with learning technology. But there are so many others that we can get. Most of you know the program. It's been around 25 years. 2,900 MVPs worldwide across 90 countries. These are people who are knowledgeable about Microsoft products. They're on the bleeding edge. They know about what's going on. And they're driven by their passion and community spirit. The main reason they know so much about this stuff is because they have conversations with the product group all the freaking time. So some people talk to the product group every week, some people every 2 weeks, some people every month, depends. But they have access via private DLs, with private aliases, with calls. They just know what's going on in technology. And it's across all of these different tech stacks. There's Azure, Windows, et cetera, et cetera. Data platform and business apps are the ones that I'm particularly looking at right now. But the main thing we look for from MVPs are we want your feedback from your communities. Because me sitting in Seattle, Washington, have no idea what the experience is like for someone in Chile or Argentina. Do you know, I just learned today that Azure Cognitive Services is not turned on for many parts of Latin America. I didn't know that. I would not even know that. I needed to learn that today. And part of the reason is the data center and resources, blah, blah. So helping build a healthy community is something MVPs do. Here is something that made me mad and why I actually reached out to Gaston. Okay. Population of North America is like 700 million people. Population of Latin America is almost that, 652 million. Why are there literally 4 times more MVPs in North America, Latin America? That's crazy, and that shouldn't be. Look at EMEA, 1,200. APAC. Why is LATAM, why is that number so low? This is not okay. This is just not okay. So we're going to fix it There's a bunch of benefits, right? Career advantage, roadmap exposure. You look like a superhero to your boss, honestly, at work. You get called to speak at stuff like Ignite, et cetera, et cetera. There's a global summit, which is held in March. Usually it used to be in person. Now it's virtual, thanks to the pandemic. You get a bunch of stuff. You get your 365 and LinkedIn Learning and stuff. I want to be in the business of making MVPs. All 4 or 5 of you on the call are MVPs, so they can be nominated by existing MVPs or by Microsoft FTs. If you want help with this, reach out to me. This is why I'm doing this. I'm not here crashing Azure and Albar because I don't want to make MVPs. I want to do this. And I would like today to be an origin story, okay? Every superhero has an origin story. And I would like this to be an origin story right now, that we make this happen in 2021. Okay? So if you're in, I would like you to screenshot the slide. Just do it. Take a minute if you're in. Out of the 652 million people in LATAM, we will create this year 10 new MVPs, 10 new student ambassadors, 1 million new people skilled in Power Platform in 2021. And if you're in, I would like you to share this image on social media, on Twitter, LinkedIn, whatever, Facebook, whatever your social media of choice is. Private one, your WhatsApp group, your community forum, your YouTube page, and just share with the Power LATAM hashtag. And let's see how many people we can reach. We are putting people on notice today that this is happening in 2021. Like, this is happening. We're going to skill up. We're going to job up. Because people who are MVPs, people who are student partners, they tend to get employed. People look to them as leaders and role models. They tend to be given amazing opportunities. So let's do this. Can we make a commitment just on this call and whoever's watching on YouTube to do this? Yes?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yes.
We are in.
The reason we're all doing this is because our mission at Microsoft, empower every person, every organization on the planet to achieve more. We take the every very seriously. We're not saying empower every person in North America to achieve more. That's stupid. That makes no sense. So I'm launching something this week called the Hour of Local. It's Computer Science Education Week, my favorite holiday of the year. And we've invented a holiday called Hour of Local. And it's this week. Go check out that URL. It is fun activities for the whole family to do together. There's Power Apps for kids, Power Apps for grown-ups, Power Apps for the whole family. And I've started this in Barbados in person. I kicked it off in Africa last week. And I'd like to assign everyone a piece of homework. I would love for everybody, whether you're a tech person or a non-tech person, you've never used, any Microsoft product in your life, to do our free course. It is 100% free. You'll be setting up a dev account that will last forever. It renews every 3 months. You pay zero money. You don't put down a credit card. You don't give up Azure credits. You don't do any of it. It's at aka.ms Udacity Power. We partnered with Udacity, who works on job skilling. That's their entire mission, to create this course so we could reach an audience that we have not reached yet. So I would love for everyone to do this. The last lesson here is AI Builder, and that requires object detection, which relies on cognitive services. So it might be off in your region, but the rest of it will work great. So I would love for everyone to do this homework assignment. And I would like you to tell me your story, because we're in the business of creating the next generation of leaders from LATAM, the next generation of tech leaders. And I would really like to help however I can. So that is why I'm here today. I'm going to stop sharing these slides. I'm trying to do that. But that's kind of my call to action of training and skilling.
Mm-hmm. Such an answer, by the way. Eh?
we have to do this. We have to get Latin America. It's not okay that there's this huge opportunity in the world and our Latinx brothers and sisters are not included. That's not okay. So we got one more. And we on the call, we're in. All of you watching, I hope you're in.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. That was a great answer, actually. So illustrative, and we now, as you say, we have a homework now. So
Yeah.
A lot of homework. Okay, Dona, I'm as business applications MVP. I want to know a little bit more, or something new from the roadmap for product platform. If you want to share something with us.
Yeah, so just yesterday we released Power BI RPA desktop. So this is a way to do robotic process automation. Like think of it like Windows automation, easier. I don't know if any of you have had to do Windows automation. I've had to do a lot of Windows automation to test for bugs in my day. It is a pain in the neck like you've never believed in God, right? There's nothing more annoying than look for the box. Once you find the box, click the button. I'm like, what am I doing with my life? Like, there's 800 tools you can use, UI this and Path, and then, oh my God, there's like 80 tools. But there's nothing built into Windows. And I was always like, why isn't there something built into Windows? I push the button, I record the thing, I hit enter, and I'm done. Why do I have to install this thing? That thing is not collaborative with Windows. It gets in the way. There's a huge square in the middle. I'm like, why is this happening to me? So finally, 15 years later, we can now do Windows automation. And it works. Like, it actually works. I tested it because I have lots and lots of feedback for the product team on this. But that is the latest thing, and I'm so excited because, we have like 1 billion plus Windows users in the world. And I guarantee there's so many IT pros who are so freaking sick and tired of Windows automation. So this is something new that I am very excited about, and I hope other people are too.
Thank you.
Good. Excellent. Well, Dona, this year we saw you at Build. Back then, Ignite, Business Application Summit. So what is your experience being the host of this huge event? We saw you there. It was amazing to see you, all day in all the events. So what can you tell you about being this kind of host?
So I would say there's three things. One, it is such an honor to even be asked to represent Microsoft on these global stages. And it's amazing because I get to connect with people all over the world. Being a host in person is different because it's like, oh, here's all these people in the room who I know, who I can talk to, look at. And it's like the people who are fortunate enough to be there, right, in this event. Being a host for a giant virtual event like Build, reaches millions of people, is amazing because we're getting messages on the side in the chat. And it's wonderful to see people saying like, I'm from Chile, I'm from Trinidad, I'm from Dominican Republic of Congo, I'm from Mauritius, I'm from Indonesia. And it's amazing to be able to realize like how many people in the world care about technology and about learning more about tech to do their job and live their lives better. So first, it's a total honor. Second, it is a really, really good way to make a bunch of friends because you can do big questions like, who in the world thinks this is a good idea? And you can get a lot of feedback. And third, it's a very good way to assign homework at scale. I'm sure all of you have seen, I'm like randomly assigning homework to groups of people. Dear so-and-so, go attend this workshop. Dear everyone, go do this. It's a very, very good way to assign homework at scale. So overall, it's been an amazing experience, and it's one of those things where there's so many virtual events are like, they're two-pronged, right? They're good because you can reach more people. They're bad because you can't connect, like physically connect, like have the conversation in a room. But I love the idea of all events having a virtual option. So even when we can do this in person, it'd be amazing to just have the virtual option.
Yeah.
So that people can dial in from anywhere. And maybe someday if they get the chance, they can come in person. But I love the inclusivity of virtual events.
Yeah.
Thank you. Dona, where do you see the technology and heating in the next 5 to 10 years?
I would say there's a few things. One, I think IoT will be a big factor. Just looking at all of the machines in the world, and many of them have to become smart machines. With that comes huge security risks. So I think all of us have to become more aware of security. Like, what does it mean to take updates? What does it mean to be able to debug like a firmware problem, right? Like a locksmith of the future is going to have to come and debug your smart door. So just think about it, right? They're not going to show up with a belt and like a screwdriver. They're going to show up like, I'm here to debug your door. It's just going to be super interesting. And it's more reason than ever for people to become technical. So I think IoT is like a big area to focus on. Samuel Adrani in Ghana does this amazing demo that uses Azure IoT Hub and Power Apps to control the IoT device. He's got this light thing on his desk that electrocutes him every time. And it's such a cool demo because he has done this using low code. So he's proven that you don't need to be, like electrical engineer or like computer scientist to be able to program and debug an IoT device. You can do it through Azure IoT Hub and a bunch of connections, some good luck, and Power Apps. So that's one area that I'm particularly very interested in focusing on. The next one is helping people who are in business groups learn to do tech to solve their own problems, right? Like automate your thing, turn your timesheets into this HR app, look at like tracking mileage, not in a sheet of paper. So just helping people move away from the sheet of paper model to some sort of digital model. So one, you don't have a million sheets of paper killing trees. Second, once you're working remotely and you can, you're much more likely to be able to use that tech at home as you are at work. So that I think is important. And the third thing, and this is kind of counter to the previous one, is we have to be able to digitally detox. We can't, our houses are connected, we are connected, we're always on this thing, we're always on that thing. Most of us are on this screen while looking at this screen at the same time, right? Constantly. Our brains cannot focus on one thing. We have to digitally detox. We just have to, whatever that means, we have to be able to shut and just be. And that sounds really hippy-dippy, but it's very true. And I think more analog hobbies and activities we have in the world, the better and more mentally like more mentally strong we'll be. Someone said, offline time is the greatest luxury. And I thought that was fascinating because, you really look forward to the moments you're not in these virtual meetings. Like, you really, really don't like that much, right? Like, you don't mind in-person stuff. You're like, yeah, if we were doing this in person, this would be fun. This is going for hours. But being on a video call for hours, it's terrible. It's just, we as humans are not meant to stare at a screen this long. So I think just that act of disconnecting is very important, whatever that means for you.
That sounds awesome. Sounds awesome. Okay, we are going to kind of close to end this chapter. This was really amazing, Dona. I am really appreciate for your time today. And all LATAM. Kathy is saying that she was really excited to see that slide. We should be empowering more people, as you mentioned. That is something that we need to bring on 2021 for all our folks from LATAM, and bring that on the table. Bring that picture on all the social medias, and engage to do that. Engage to that happens. That could happen, and that should happen in all our LATAM communities in the next year.
That goal is like pretty pathetic. Like, that's not a very big goal. That is a very bare minimum. We can't do that. What the heck?
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, really? We don't know 10 people out of 652 million?
Exactly.
We're not very good at our job if we can't do this. So let's do this. Let's have a reunion in a year. Okay? 12/10/2020. And let's celebrate. We're like, we did the thing.
Yeah,
right?
exactly. That should happen.
That's a commitment.
I will crash Azure NL Bar, maybe in person.
Hopefully.
I hope so.
We all hope that.
Yeah,
We all
cross
hope
fingers for that.
Yeah, and let's just make the commitment. Let's do this, right? Let's just do it. Let's do the thing.
Yeah, sounds awesome. Any kind of thoughts from your end in terms of closing this chapter today? We are going to be the final round. Of course, all of us, Javier, Cristobal, Alex, myself, we appreciate so much your time. And any advice for Azure NL in the next 2021? Of course, you can rely on us on any kind of event that you need from us to speak on or to whatever, all of this team and all of these friends that come into Azure NL, they are kind of really big family for me and for all of us. So any advice from your end, and we can close this chapter today.
I think it's incredibly important to get people involved early. So go out, get people who are in college now, and help them realize how important it is to build community, because the people who build good tech skills sometimes get jobs. The people who build good tech skills and a really good community and great networks always get jobs. Always get jobs. I've never seen someone who with tech skills, with great network in the community, who doesn't have a job, ever. So encourage them to do that, because it is fine to sit at home and study all day, but it's much, much better to go out there, help people learn what you know, and really build a brand around being someone who helps people learn tech and make your local communities and companies better. So that's all for me. Feliz Navidad. And have a wonderful holiday season. I will see you. I am determined. I'm manifesting this. I will see you in person next year.
Excellent.
Thank you very much. Go ahead, Cristobal, and switch to Spanish, and maybe we can close with our audience in LATAM speaking some Spanish to close the deal.
Bueno, gracias a todas las personas que están apoyando y haciendo el aguante desde el chat del canal de YouTube. Bueno, en estos momentos hay gente de Brasil, México, Argentina, Colombia. También está ahí en el chat. Le mando un saludo a Catherine Ferreira, que estaba muy atenta a lo que mencionaba Dona. La felicito porque la hemos visto crecer bastante este año aportando a las comunidades, así que eso es muy bueno. Y por otro lado también darle las gracias a todos en este último capítulo del año. El 2021 vamos con todo nuevamente. Espero que nos podamos reunir, como dice en nuestro título, hacer un evento en vivo, por supuesto, en un bar como corresponde. Eso seguro que va a ir, así que darle las gracias a todos, amigos, y muchas gracias, y nos vemos el próximo año. Y también agradecerle a Dona por su tiempo de haber estado con nosotros. Así que muy buen cierre de año y agradecimiento nuevamente a todos. Muchas gracias.
Thank you, Dona.